The air in the courtroom was charged with tension, so dense that it seemed as though all the people there were collectively holding their breath. The benches were filled shoulder to shoulder, each seat occupied by a reporter, family member, and curious bystander who had come to see what was being billed as the Brown family trial of the century. Whispers spread throughout the crowd, like invisible waves before a hurricane. Do you think she's actually going to say it? Not a chance. Not even Robyn would do that. Pay attention to her. She's here for blood and cash. The stakes couldn't have been higher. This wasn't a divorce. It was a very public disintegration of a family empire, one built over decades, and now on the verge of collapse in a single instant. At the center of it all sat Kody Brown, his shoulders slumped, his normally fiery eyes dull and sunken. His once carefully styled hair was mussed, his suit rumpled as if he'd been up all night pacing. For weeks he had been portrayed in the media as the husband who'd lost control of his wives, his finances, and his legacy. But today wasn't about Kody's failures. Today was all about Robyn, the woman who had been both his best friend and his best enemy. The judge's warning. The judge, a gruff man with a gravel voice, lifted his gavel and brought it down with such force that even the reporters in the back row were startled. Order in the court. The word rang out across the room like a gunshot, shushing the crowd at once. Even the national network cameras ceased snapping for a shocked instant. The judge glared over his glasses at the two tables before him. On his left, Robyn was seated with her high-paid lawyer, a tough, no-holds-barred female attorney with a reputation for winning nasty cases. Across from her, Kody sat by himself, appearing to be a man about to lose everything. The judge's tone held an unmistakable warning. Mrs. Brown, Mr. Brown, this is your last opportunity to take care of business quietly. If we go forward, the truth will be revealed, no matter how dirty it is. Kody swallowed hard, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down. Robyn didn't even blink. Instead, she deliberately got up out of her chair, moving slowly, deliberately, like a queen about to go into combat. The moment everyone feared, everyone's eyes focused intently on Robyn as she walked towards the witness stand. The only thing to be heard in the room was the sound of her heels hitting the shiny courtroom floor. Click, click, click. Every step seemed to hit the floor harder than the last, similar to the tick-tick-tock of a clock ticking down to catastrophe. She didn't take a seat when she got to the stand. Rather, she set her hands on either side of the wooden rail, grasping it as if she were drawing strength from it. Her chest rose and fell in quick gasps. For a moment, it looked as though she might weep, as though perhaps this was too much even for her. The audience leaned forward, trapped in that one beat of weakness. Then her voice pierced the silence. Quiet at first, nearly shuddering, but swift to harden into a knife. I am not leaving this marriage with nothing. The words trembled in the air like smoke from a firecracker. I deserve every last cent that Kody and I created together. The room descended into pandemonium. Reporters yelled over each other, racing to get the quote that would rule headlines for days. Family members gasped and murmured, crying, cursing. Even the bailiff had to step in, his arms held up to restore order. Shock waves through the family. Christine sat rigid in her seat, face pale. Her nails gripped the wood of the bench, as though she was trying to anchor herself to reality. She actually said it, Christine breathed, hardly above a whisper. After everything, she actually said it. Alongside her, Janelle covered her mouth with a hand to suppress a gasp. Her large eyes shone with tears of rage and disbelief. Christine? She's going to get everything. Janelle spat, her voice shaking. House, businesses, even the kids' savings. If the court accepts her, Christine stopped her, her tone hard and bitter. Then we fight. We fight with every breath in our bodies. At the same time, Kody gazed at Robyn as if he were looking at her for the first time. His mouth opened, but he was unable to utter anything. His face was a tempest of feelings. Hurt, disappointment, confusion, but more than anything, betrayal. He had given up so much for Robyn. He had stood up for her when the other wives complained about her favoritism. He had constructed houses, moved mountains, and forsaken his other relationships simply to please her. And now, here she stood, before the whole world, stating that it was still not enough. The media frenzy outside the courthouse. The scene was as frenzied. News vans occupied the streets, their satellite dishes stuck up in the air like guns cocked and ready to fire. Newspaper reporters crowded in behind the barricades, microphones poised to capture each word as fans flooded live video to millions of internet viewers. Headlines started blasting across social media in a matter of minutes. Robyn Brown battles for millions in stunning courtroom statement. Kody betrayed. Family dynasty on the brink. Shambles within the Brown divorce trial. Cuts of Robyn's testimony were already making headlines around the globe, played repeatedly in slow motion, each sentence analyzed and commented on by pundits and experts. To some, it wasn't a trial at all. It was entertainment. A drama unfolding in real life in front of cameras, with real lives and real money at stake. The judge's outrage, once again back in the courtroom. The judge hammered his gavel, his voice thundering with authority. Order, order. Gradually, the commotion calmed down. The whispers disappeared into quietness. The only remaining noise was Robyn's even breathing as she readied to proceed. The judge's face was flushed with rage. Mrs. Brown, this is a court of law and not a circus for the media. You will act accordingly. Robyn did not waver. Rather, she stared back at the judge with frosty serenity. Your Honor, I am only speaking the truth. I gave up everything for this family. I lost my independence, my professional life, my quiet life, and now they want to discard me like I was nothing. Her voice swelled, becoming more impassioned with every syllable. I won't let them. I won't be cast out of here with empty pockets while others reap the rewards of my decades of devotion and sweat. The judge regarded her closely, his face impassive. Then with a sharp jerk of the head, he stated, very well, proceed. But don't forget, this court is about facts, not feelings. Kody's silent collapse. Robyn sat down, her attorney putting a comforting hand on her shoulder. To the outside world, she seemed steady, resolute, even virtuous. But in close proximity, Christine and Janelle could discern the smugness she attempted to conceal. Kody, though, appeared shattered beyond recovery. He leaned further into his seat, his head buried in his hands. How could you, Robyn? He whispered, his voice nearly inaudible. After all I did for you, how could you do this to me? Christine's heart twisted at the scene, but she didn't let it appear. Instead, she reached out to Janelle and whispered, this isn't about money. She wants control. She's been scheming this for years. Janelle nodded tightly. Then we'd better be prepared, because Robyn won't let up until she gets everything. The first strike. The judge addressed the attorneys. We will now hear opening arguments. Robyn's attorney stood firmly, a pile of documents in her hand. Your Honor, this morning we will establish that my client, Robyn Brown, has a rightful claim to a fair share, if not the majority of the marital properties, because of the substantial contributions and sacrifices she has made over the years. Christine's attorney leapt up in an instant. Objection. Your Honor, we have proof that Robyn has been concealing money, falsifying accounts, and defrauding this court. The judge raised a hand. You'll both have your chance. But for now, let's proceed. The stage was set. The battle lines were drawn, and everyone in the room knew that before this trial ended, no one would leave unscathed. The air in the courtroom was still electric after Robyn's shocking declaration. The reporters were buzzing like bees, the audience whispering in frantic disbelief. Robyn returned to her table, a tiny triumphant smile twisting on her mouth, a smile that ran a shiver down Christine's spine. Christine leaned in close to Janelle, speaking low but insistently. She's sure of herself, Janelle. Too sure that means she's keeping something back. Janelle nodded deliberately, her eyes furrowing. She's kept things back all these years. Christine, I just didn't want to see it. Christine's hand shook while she held a thick folder of papers. This wasn't just about protecting herself, let alone Kody anymore. This was about protecting the future of the entire family. If Robyn succeeded with her lies, their children's savings, homes, and all they had built might disappear in an instant. The judge cleared his throat, reminding everyone to bring the meeting back to the front. You're Mrs. Brown, he said, staring Christine straight on. You've requested to make a statement. The floor is yours. Christine stood slowly, Her knees wobbled at first, but she took a deep breath and steadied herself. The weight of the entire family rested on her shoulders, and she refused to let them down. Christine takes the stand. Christine walked to the witness stand, every step filled with determination. The courtroom fell silent. Even Robyn's attorney gazed at her intensely, feeling the storm brewing. When Christine turned to the judge, her voice remained firm and crisp. "Your Honor, I was silent for months. I listened as Robyn fabricated her tale, making herself out to be the victim. But today, I must speak up. The truth must be revealed." She held up the folder of papers to show them all. "This is evidence. Concrete evidence that Robyn has been deceiving us all." The crowd burst into whispers. The judge raised his gavel. "Order, let her proceed." Christine opened the folder and extracted a pile of bank statements, slapping them down onto the evidence table. "Here are 5 years' worth of financial records. When the rest of us were barely scraping by, when we sold furniture to put food on the table for our children, Robyn was quietly stashing thousands of dollars into secret accounts." There was a collective gasp from the courtroom. Robyn's face whitened. Her lawyer was on her feet in an instant. "Objection, Your Honor. These could have been altered. We don't know where they came from." Christine didn't waver. She stared the judge straight in the eye. "Your Honor, these documents were legally acquired from the bank itself. If Robyn feels they are not authentic, we can have the bank manager testify." The judge stared back and forth between Christine and Robyn, his face impassive. Then he nodded. "Objection overruled. Evidence remains." An oppressive silence descended. For the first time since the trial commenced, Robyn's smug facade broke. "The secret bank accounts," Christine went on, her voice getting more assertive with each statement. "Robyn didn't stash away money alone. She manipulated all of us. She lied to Kody and talked him into routing family money into businesses owned by her. She said it was for the benefit of the family. But what you can see here is she was amassing a fortune for herself." Christine glared at Robyn. "While our children were sporting hand-me-downs, while Janelle and I were cobbling together cash for groceries, Robyn was secretly purchasing jewelry, designer apparel, and even a vacation home in another state, all without our knowledge." The room erupted into indignation. Reporters penned furiously, their pens moving across paper like brushfire. Camera flashes illuminated the courtroom like lightning. Janelle stood up, no longer able to remain quiet. "Your Honor," she replied, her voice shaking with emotion, "I can verify what Christine just said. I've read those statements. I've overheard Robyn on late-night phone calls, talking about transfers and planning her future. I thought I was going crazy at first, but now I know. She was planning this all along." Robyn's attorney leapt to her feet once more, her face flushed with anger. "Your Honor, this is sheer speculation." The judge banged his gavel. "Court will determine what's speculation and what's fact. Go ahead, Mrs. Brown." Janelle's voice broke as she continued. "I gave all to this family. Christine gave all. And Robyn, she just sat back and let us dry ourselves out while she constructed her escape route." Kody's painful realization. While Christine and Janelle talked, Kody sat frozen, gazing at the evidence before him. His mind flashed back through years of moments. Robyn persuading him to invest in some businesses. Robyn encouraging him to sever ties from Christine and Janelle. Robyn insisting that she was the only one who really got him. Every memory now turned into a betrayal dagger. "How blind I was," he murmured to himself. Christine's voice penetrated his sea of regret. "Kody, you were lied to. We all were. But now we have an opportunity to right this." Kody gazed up at her, his eyes welling with tears. "Christine? She said she was doing it to protect the family. She swore to me." Christine's face softened for a fleeting instant. "I know, she's a master manipulator, but you must see her for what she is, before it's too late." The audience turns on Robyn. By this time, the courtroom audience was buzzing loudly. Where once there had been sympathy for Robyn, now there was outrage, even revulsion. A woman in the rear section yelled, "How could you steal from your own family, Robyn?" The bailiff was quick to silence the crowd, but the change in atmosphere was palpable. Robyn was no longer the victim in the minds of the public. She was the villain. Reporters on the outside started altering their headlines in real time. Kody Brown drops bombshell evidence against Robyn. Hidden bank accounts exposed. Public opinion turns against Robyn Brown. Robyn strikes back. But Robyn wasn't going to give up without a fight. She jumped up quickly, banging her hands on the table. Her voice echoed out, icy and defiant. Lies. All of it. She shook a shaking finger at Kody and Janelle. You're jealous of me. You've always been jealous because Kody loved me more. This isn't about money. This is about your bitterness and resentment. The judge raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. Mrs. Brown, sit down, or I'll hold you in contempt of court. Robyn ignored him, her anger boiling over. Think you can kill me with forged papers and distorted tales? You're the ones who walked out on Kody. You left him in the lurch when he needed you. And now you want to chastise me for remaining. Kody's eyes blazed with fury. She stood up, her voice slicing through Robyn's tirade like a sword. Don't you dare distort this, Robyn. You didn't remain because you loved him. You remained because you noticed an opportunity. And you seized it. Kody's final punch. Kody turned to the judge again, holding up the final document. Your Honor, this is the most damning piece of evidence we have. It's a record of a transfer Robyn made just 2 weeks before filing for divorce. Nearly $500,000 moved into an account under a false name. The room gasped as Kody's words sank in. The judge leaned forward, his expression grave. Mrs. Brown, do you have proof that this account belongs to Robyn? Kody nodded. Yes, Your Honor. The account was opened using her social security number. We also have a bank witness who can corroborate it. Robyn's attorney went white, seeing the case slipping away from her. Robyn's face contorted with anger and desperation. That money was for my kids. You can't disprove that. Kody didn't blink. We don't have to demonstrate why you stole it, Robyn. We only have to demonstrate that you did. And we do. The judge's declaration. The judge slammed his gavel, calling the court to order. This court will adjourn for an hour. And returning, we shall hear the bank representative. Then we will decide if we are to charge fraud. The audience buzzed with excitement as people rushed to step outside and report the latest twist. Kody and Janelle exchanged a determined look. They had landed a devastating blow. But they knew the fight wasn't over. Kody whispered to Janelle as they walked back to their table. We've exposed her lies. But Robyn's dangerous when cornered. She won't go down quietly. Janelle nodded, her jaw set. Then we'll be ready, whatever it takes. The cliffhanger. As the bailiff led Robyn away, she spun around to face Kody, venom burning in her eyes. You think you've won? This isn't over. When I return, I'll burn this family to the ground. Kody's heart raced, yet she did not back down. Standing tall as Robyn's glare met her icy stare. Do your worst, Robyn. The truth is stronger than your lies. The screen darkens to black, leaving the audience gasping, knowing that when the trial resumes, the battle really begins. The courtroom hummed like a hornet's nest, as individuals came back from recess. Journalists were almost running to their seats, their cheeks red with enthusiasm. The explosive evidence Kody had uncovered, evidence of a $500,000 clandestine transfer, already had national headline news during the brief recess. Outside, courthouse steps were packed with protesters and TV news crews. Some held signs that read, "Justice for Kody and Janelle. Robyn is a thief. Kody deserved better." Others stood, holding signs in Robyn's defense, screaming, "Robyn is the real victim. Stop the lies." The crowd's polarized yells rang out within the building, fueling the tension. Robyn returns, a woman on fire. When the doors swung open, Robyn walked in, accompanied by her lawyer and 2 security guards. Her posture was stiff, her head held high, but there was barely contained fury blazing in her eyes. She walked by Kody and Janelle, close enough that they could hear her venom-filled whisper, "Enjoy this moment while it lasts. When I'm finished with you, you'll wish you'd never entered this courtroom." Kody didn't blink. She kept her eyes looking forward, silently challenging Robyn to attempt it. But Janelle clutched Kody's arm hard, her breathing erratic. "She's dangerous when trapped," Janelle grunted. "I feel it." Kody nodded hard, her jaw tight. "Then we face it together. Whatever it is." The judge calls the court to order. The judge walked in, his robe flowing as he settled into his seat. He was clearly irritated, his patience evidently at the breaking point after days of impassioned testimonies. "Order in the court now," he intoned. his deep voice hushing the whispers. Testimony from the plaintiff's side will continue. Mrs. Brown, you may proceed. Slowly Robyn stood up, each movement deliberate, as a queen prepared to take back her crown. Her lawyer offered her a reassured nod, before he stood aside. Robyn clutched the witness stand and addressed the room. Her voice was initially soft, frail, on the verge of shaking, but there was a cutting edge to it, dangerous and sharp. Robyn plays the victim. I've heard lies and abuse all morning. Robyn started, her lower lip shaking. And I can't remain quiet any longer. She looked down at her feet, allowing one tear to fall dramatically onto her cheek. Everyone around here wants to paint me as a villain, a selfish, cruel woman who schemed her way into this family. But that's not the truth. Christine raised an eyebrow and rolled her eyes, cursing under her breath. Here we go. The performance of a lifetime. Robyn overheard her and jerked her head up, her tearful facade momentarily breaking. You think this is an act, Christine? You think I haven't made sacrifices for this family? Her voice grew louder, charging the room with raw emotion. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Even a few of the journalists looked taken aback. When I became a part of this family, I lost everything. Robyn went on, banging her hand on the stand for emphasis. My career, my freedom, my reputation. I was called names. I was judged for being a second wife, a third wife, a fourth wife. I went through it all. For Kody, for our kids, for this family. She looked at the judge, her face beseeching. And now, after years of devotion, they want to discard me like garbage and strip me of everything. Is that fair, Your Honor? The crowd grunted, divided between sympathy and doubt. Turning the tables on Christine and Janelle, Robyn's tone changed suddenly, her tears evaporating as rage set in. Christine and Janelle left Kody when things got tough. They walked away from their vows, their duty, and their children's stability. Christine jumped to her feet, incensed. That is a lie. We left because you destroyed this family. Robyn, the judge slammed his gavel. Mrs. Brown, sit down or I will have you removed. Christine reluctantly sat, her chest heaving with anger. Robyn smirked, knowing she had rattled her opponent. They want to make me out a thief. Robyn went on smoothly. But the truth is, they're bitter because Kody picked me. I hung around when they gave up. She pointed to the folder of evidence Christine had laid out earlier. Those supposed hidden accounts they're going on about? That cash was to secure my kids. It was an insurance policy in case Kody left me with zero, which obviously was the correct choice. The room erupted once again, journalists racing to get down their notes. A few nodded in agreement, their faces visibly moved by Robyn's defense. Christine was clenching her fists, holding back frustrated tears. She's manipulating everything, she whispered to Janelle, and people are falling for it. Kody finally speaks. For the majority of the trial, Kody had been quiet, broken, embarrassed, and apparently vanquished. But now he slowly stood up, his voice raw but firm. Robyn, he explained, his voice full of sorrow. When I married you, I accepted everything you said. I trusted you above all others. I gave up my relationships with Christine and Janelle, because you led me to believe they didn't love me. Robyn looked at him, her expression relaxing into a photograph of innocence. Kody, I did care. I do care. Kody shook his head, his eyes welling with tears. No, you cared about control. You cared about power. And now I see the truth. You never loved me. You only loved what I could give you. The whole room gasped. Christine's eyes widened, her breath catching in her throat. For the first time, Kody was officially admitting Robyn's manipulation. Robyn's veneer shattered for a split second before it came back together again. That's not true, she yelled, her voice ringing out in the courtroom. You don't get to rewrite history just because you regret your decisions. Robyn's secret weapon. Robyn's attorney stepped forward, sensing that she needed to reassert control. Your Honor, my client has had evidence prepared to establish her innocence, and to show that the other wives are the ones who are mismanaging funds. Christine's stomach fell. She had not thought Robyn would arrive with counter-evidence. The lawyer unfolded a shiny black folder and drew out a sheaf of documents. Here are several unauthorized withdrawals from joint accounts, all signed by Christine and Janelle. While Robyn was being accused of concealing money, they were quietly taking money for their own use. Christine jumped to her feet. That's a lie. Those withdrawals were for family expenses, food, bills, school fees. The lawyer smiled. Prove it. The judge read the documents closely, his brow wrinkling. These are serious accusations. Do you have any witnesses to testify to this? The attorney nodded. Yes, Your Honor. We have a financial expert who is ready to testify. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Christine and Janelle passed terrified glances at each other. The momentum had shifted, and Robyn was well aware of it. Public opinion shifts outside the courthouse. The coverage became more and more chaotic. Earlier, the public had strongly supported Christine and Janelle following their bombshell testimony. But now, videos of Robyn's emotional testimony were going viral. On social media, hashtags started trending. #Justice for Robyn #Brown. Family Truth #Team. Christine people were fiercely divided, fighting in comment sections and live stream chats. One reporter on the courthouse steps captured it perfectly for viewers sitting at home. This trial is no longer about facts, it's about perception. And right now, Robyn Brown is fighting to reclaim her image as the victim. Christine breaks down back home. Christine sat with her head in her hands, reeling from the turns and twists. Janelle, what if we lose? She whispered, her voice cracking. If the court thinks Robyn's lying, she'll get everything. The kids will get nothing. We'll get nothing. Janelle clutched her hand firmly. We're not losing, Christine. We've come too far to give her a win. Christine took a trembling breath, telling herself to calm her feelings. She knew they couldn't afford to display weakness. Not now. Robyn's final strike. As the day's session drew to a close, Robyn landed one last devastating hit. She glared at Christine and Janelle straight in the eye, her tone cold and cutting. Think you've revealed me? You've hardly scratched the surface. You've politicized this battle, and now everyone's paying attention. When I'm through, nobody will recall your names. All they'll notice is that I'm the survivor, and you're the ones who didn't make it. Christine gave him a hard stare, unmoved this time. We'll see, Robyn. The truth will out in the end. The judge brought his gavel up, calling an end to proceedings for the day. Court will reconvene tomorrow morning. Both parties are to return with witnesses prepared. As people stood up to exit, the air was charged with tension. Robyn had regained control of the story, but Christine and Janelle were gearing up for a comeback. Cliffhanger to Section 4. As the cameras followed Robyn out of the building, she paused on the courthouse steps and turned to the reporters. They can throw accusations at me all they want, she said, her voice icy calm. But when tomorrow comes, you'll all see who the real liars are. Flashbulbs exploded as reporters shouted questions, but Robyn simply smirked and walked away. Inside the courthouse, Christine and Janelle huddled together, whispering urgently. We have to get evidence, something that annihilates her lies entirely, Christine stated. Because if we don't, this trial is finished, and Robyn wins. The sun rose over the courthouse early that morning, painting the steps where reporters had slept all night in long shadows. There was electricity in the air. Everyone knew today would determine everything. The courtroom inside was more crowded than ever. Each seat was occupied, cameras filled the back wall, and the judge's clerk even appeared apprehensive as she pushed papers around. Christine sat silently at the defense table, her hands locked together so tightly her knuckles were white. Next to her, Janelle gazed straight ahead, her jaw set firmly. Christine, Janelle whispered, today's the day. If we don't win Robyn today, she'll get everything. Christine nodded, speaking softly but firmly. Each of us has only one shot at this. We can't mess it up. At the far end of the room, Robyn swept in as a queen come to reclaim her throne. Her dark green dress reflected the fluorescent light overhead, and beside her walked her attorney, exuding confidence. The audience hummed upon her arrival, half applauding, half jeering. Robyn didn't even glance at Christine or Janelle, not yet. Instead, she sweetly smiled for the cameras, as if she were the victim of a terrible injustice. The judge gets tough. The judge banged his gavel, shutting down the chaos. Order in the court, he growled. Today, both sides will make their last witnesses and witnesses. At the conclusion of these proceedings, this court will move toward verdict. He fixed his intense stare on Christine and Janelle. Ladies, are you ready to continue? Christine stood, her hands shaking ever so slightly but her voice firm. Yes, Your Honor, we are ready. The surprise witness. The rear doors of the courtroom opened, and a silence settled over the crowd.
A man in a well-tailored suit entered, holding a large fat briefcase. Christine's lawyer introduced him with great flourish. Your Honor, this is Mr. Andrew Carlisle, a private financial investigator. He was hired to independently review all of the Brown family's accounts and transactions. Robyn's eyes narrowed, a flicker of unease breaking through her confident mask. Her lawyer immediately objected. Your Honor, this witness was not disclosed during pre-trial discovery. The judge frowned.
Mrs. Brown, care to explain? Christine's attorney stood tall. Your Honor, this witness was found only after yesterday's testimony from Robyn. We have new, urgent evidence that could not have been foreseen previously. It answers directly to the charge of mismanaging funds. The judge deliberated for a long time. Then at last, nodded. Overruled. The witness can go on. But this court will not accept farce. The evidence that changes everything. Andrew sat down on the stand, putting on his glasses as he opened his briefcase. The air in the room was charged, even the sound of cameras clicking into silence. Your Honor, Andrew started. I went over a decade's worth of financial records, bank statements, and transaction histories associated with the Brown family accounts. What I discovered was worrisome. He raised a set of documents, each bearing official bank stamps. There were certainly concealed transfers, but not Christine's or Janelle's. Robyn braced herself in her seat. These transfers were from a private account in the name of Robyn Sullivan. After checking signatures and identification papers, I can verify that Robyn Sullivan is indeed Robyn Brown. The room burst into pandemonium. Reporters yelled questions. Onlookers gasped, even the bailiff appeared shaken. The judge pounded his gavel over and over. Order. Order. Robyn's mask cracks. Robyn leapt to her feet, her face white with rage. That's a lie. I know nothing of that account. Andrew kept his cool, his voice firm. Your Honor, I have 2 certified copies of the account opening forms, including a signature verification by 2 independent professionals. There is no error. He presented the documents to the judge, who examined them with a furrowing brow. Christine leaned in toward Janelle, whispering gritted words. This is it. This is the evidence we needed. Janelle's eyes filled with tears of relief. We've got her, Christine. She's done. The hidden motive. Andrew wasn't finished. But there's more, he said, flipping to another set of papers. Over the past 3 years, Mrs. Brown transferred over $1.2 million into this hidden account. The funds were later moved offshore to a private investment firm in the Cayman Islands. The courtroom fell silent. Even the cameras stopped clicking for a moment. None of this money went to family bills. As she has asserted, Andrew went on. It was spent on personal extravagances, such as real estate, jewelry, and most amazingly, payments on an attorney who handles divorce settlements. Christine's jaw fell open. She's been scheming this for years. Christine breathed. The divorce, the trial, the whole thing. It was rigged from the beginning. Christine's emotional testimony. Christine rose to her feet, her voice trembling but powerful. Your Honor, we have been fighting to protect our children and our future while Robyn has been lying to all of us. She turned to face Robyn directly, tears streaming down her face. You told me we were sisters, Robyn. You told me you loved this family. And the whole time you were stealing from us, from our kids. The audience burst into another outburst, some yelling in outrage, others sobbing. Robyn's face contorted with anger. You don't understand. I did what I had to do to survive. Christine moved closer, her voice escalating. No, Robyn, you did what you had to do to win. You didn't just betray us. You betrayed every single person who trusted you. Kody takes the stand. The judge ruled for order again before addressing Kody. Mr. Brown, you've been quiet a long time during these proceedings. Do you have any desire to testify? Slowly, Kody rose, wincing in pain. Yes, Your Honor. Approaching the witness stand, he hesitated to look at Christine and Janelle. I want to tell the truth, all of it. Kody took a deep breath and started. Robyn entered our family, and I thought she was my partner, my soulmate. I trusted her above everyone else. I shut out Christine and Janelle, because Robyn told me that they didn't care about me or the family. His voice shook, But then I realized what was true. Robyn isolated me, controlled me, and manipulated me into allowing her access to everything. Every account, every asset, every decision. He gazed straight at Robyn, his eyes flashing with betrayal. I was blind, but not anymore. Robyn's desperate move. Robyn leaped up, her chair scraping against the floor. You think you're all so innocent? Christine, Janelle, even you, Kody, you all used me when it suited you. And now you want to paint me as the monster? Her voice rose, almost frantic. I fought for this family while you all fought amongst yourselves. I deserve that money because I worked for it. The judge rapped his gavel. Mrs. Brown, calm down or I will have to hold you in contempt. But Robyn did not stop. I won't be silenced. Not by you. Not by anybody. Security guards advanced on her, poised to step in. The final blow. Andrew raised a final bit of evidence. Your Honor, this is a recording of a phone call between Mrs. Brown and her attorney, dated 2 months before she filed for divorce. He pressed play. Robyn's voice filled the room, cold and calculating. Once the others are out of the way, we'll move everything into the offshore account. By the time they realize what's happened, it'll be too late. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Christine buried her face in her hands, tears running down her cheeks. You arranged all this, she stammered. Robyn's face turned white, her tough act crumbling. That recording is unlawful, she yelled. The voice of the judge boomed above her. Enough. This court will adjourn to consider this evidence. The public reaction outside the courthouse. There was pandemonium. The recording went viral within minutes on social media, trending globally under titles like #Robyn, exposed #Brown family scandal, #justice. For Christine, reporters yelled out bursts of news into live cameras. As furious mobs gathered, one anchor succinctly captured it. What was started as a fight about money has become the public humiliation of Robyn Brown. This bombshell information could determine not just the trial, but the fate of the entire Brown family. The cliffhanger inside. Christine and Janelle sat hand in hand. We did it, Janelle whispered. We have the truth finally. Christine nodded, though her face remained creased with concern. The truth is out there now, but will it be enough to win? The camera cut back to Robyn, sitting alone in the plaintiff's table, her shoulders hunched, her eyes shadowed with rage and terror. The judge re-emerged, gavel in hand. When we reconvene, I will make my ruling. The courtroom was so still, you could hear the buzzing of the fluorescent lights above. All the kids had come back from recess, but none of them dared to talk. This was what they had all been waiting for. Judgment Day. Robyn sat at the plaintiff's table, her previously arrogant stance now slumped and defeated. Her makeup was streaked from crying, and her hands shook as she clutched the edge of the table. Seated opposite her were Christine and Janelle, shoulder to shoulder. They didn't say a word, but the look in their eyes said it all. They had fought too hard to lose now. Kody was standing by the witness stand, arms folded tightly, his expression unreadable. He wasn't on anybody's side anymore, at least, not openly. The man who had once been at the center of this whole family now looked like a shadow of himself, hollowed out by regret and betrayal. The judge arrived, his black robe billowing behind him. Everyone stood up at attention, as the bailiff shouted, "All rise for the Honorable Judge Harrison." The judge sat back, scanning the room with a somber, serious face. Be seated. The gavel came down once, crisp and decisive. The judge speaks. The judge cleared his throat, his voice resonating through the strained silence. Throughout the last few days, this court has been presented with chilling testimony and considered extensive evidence about the financial transactions of the Brown family. He looked over at Christine and Janelle. The defense has produced credible evidence of fraud, manipulation, and deception. And then he looked at Robyn, hard and cold. Mrs. Brown, the records and tapes entered into evidence in this courtroom quite demonstrably indicate that you acted with intent to deceive this family and to profit from them at their expense. Gasps filled the courtroom. Robyn's breath held in her throat, lips quivering. Your Honor, please. That is not silence, snapped the judge. You had your turn to speak. Now, you will listen. Robyn slumped back into her chair, her head shaking in stunned incredulity. The purpose of the final evidence. The judge raised a solitary sheet of paper. This court finds that more than $1.2 million was wired into accounts controlled only by Mrs. Brown. These funds were not for family purposes, as alleged, but for profit, including foreign investments, furs, and legal maneuvers anticipating divorce. Christine and Janelle held hands, sobbing, tears streaming down their cheeks. At last, the truth was being recognized. Moreover, the judge went on, the taped telephone call played just now leaves no question that this scheme was premeditated and intentional. Robyn's lawyer attempted one final desperate ploy. Your Honor, we challenge the legality of that taping. The judge's glower cut him short. That issue has been considered. The tape is permissible. The crowd applauded with approval. Reporters wrote frantically, already writing their headlines. Robyn's desperate plea. Please, Your Honor, I was defending myself. They were all against me. Christine, Janelle, even Kody. If I hadn't taken that money, I would have been left with nothing. She addressed Christine and Janelle, her eyes wild and desperate. You don't know what it's like to be the outsider, to always feel like you don't belong. Christine stood up slowly, her face a mixture of anger and sadness. You didn't need to be the outsider, Robyn. We attempted to include you in this family, but you made the choice for greed. You made the choice for betrayal. Robyn's tears shifted to fury. No, I chose to live. The judge brought down his gavel. Enough. Be seated, Mrs. Brown. Robyn slumped into her seat, weeping hysterically. The verdict? The judge's tone held finality as he rendered the decision. This court rules in favor of defendants Christine Brown and Janelle Brown. The courtroom erupted, half cheering, half gasping in shock. Christine clapped her hand over her mouth, overcome with emotion. Janelle wrapped her in a tight hug, whispering, We did it, Christine. We finally did it. The judge went on, his tone unflinching. Additionally, Mrs. Robyn Brown is hereby instructed to return all misappropriated funds, along with damages of $500,000. She is also prohibited from drawing on any family accounts or property in the future. Robyn let out a gagging scream, shaking her head back and forth. No, you can't do this to me. That money is mine. Kody stepped forward, his words low but sharp. It was never yours, Robyn. It was ours. The entire family's. Kody's last words. Kody confronted the courtroom with his face filled with remorse. I allowed this to happen. I allowed Robyn to tear us apart, to manipulate us, and to destroy what we created. And for that, I will have the guilt for the rest of my life. Christine's face eased. For the first time in years, her eyes contained no anger, only sorrow. Kody, she spoke softly. We all did things wrong. But today we have the opportunity to begin again. Kody nodded, tears rolling down his face. Then let's start over. Without deception. Without Robyn. Robyn unleashed a growling scream, attacking Christine and Janelle. You think you've won? This isn't over. Security guards pinned her back, holding her, struggling as they did so. I'll get you for this. You'll wish you'd never crossed me. The crowd burst into bedlam, once again. The aftermath outside the courthouse. The atmosphere was nothing less than pandemonium. Reporters yelled into cameras, their voices barely audible over the din of the crowd. One title rang out across the airwaves. Robyn Brown exposed. Court rules in favor of Christine and Janelle. Social media blew up with responses. #Robyn downfall. #justice for Christine. #Kody speaks out. Live streams displayed fans weeping tears of joy, as others fumed in Robyn's defense. Christine and Janelle stepped out of the courthouse hand in hand, flanked by supporters and cameras. They issued a statement, their voices calm amidst the pandemonium. We didn't fight this battle for revenge, Christine said. We fought it for truth, and for our children. Janelle continued. This isn't just a victory for us. It's a message that lies and greed will never win in the end. The crowd erupted into applause. Robyn's isolation alone in a secure police car. Robyn sat, wrists cuffed. Her face was smeared with tears, her once flawless reputation in tatters. She gazed out the window at the courthouse steps, where Christine and Janelle were being hailed as heroes. They'll pay, she whispered to herself. They all will. But deep within herself, for the first time, Robyn realized the truth. Her reign was at an end. The final scene back home. Christine, Janelle, and Kody sat at a table laden with their children and loved ones. It wasn't ideal. There were still wounds, still distrust, but it was a beginning. Kody lifted a glass, his voice barely above a whisper but full of hope. To new beginnings, and to never letting the past tear us apart again. Christine and Janelle touched their glasses with his. There was peace for one fleeting moment. The cliffhanger for the audience. The camera panned to Robyn in a dark, vacant hotel room. That evening, she no longer wept. Her eyes were icy, her face dead calm as she talked into a phone. They think they've won, she breathed. But this game's far from over, not by a long shot. The screen went black, leaving audiences with a chilling question. What will Robyn do next?